These aren't just any corals. They were spawned and grown in a lab, including chimeras and hybrids that were until now impossible to get for your home aquarium. Ms Moonfruit and I have traveled to Germany to attend the world's largest pet convention, Interzoo, where we got a chance to check out some truly amazing corals. For many years, coral spawning was locked behind research and conservation labs, but I've managed to score a moment of Sam's time, who is the man behind SciReef and responsible for bringing these one-of-a-kind corals and new levels of sustainability to your home tank. So stick around to the end, because Sam is going to show us some baby corals that might just change the coral trade forever. I'll let the coral eye candy speak for itself and let Sam take the word.
Yeah, well, thanks for visiting us. Happy to show our corals. So these are all corals that we present here are bred from eggs in our facilities in Wilhelmshaven, Germany. It's the third Interzoo that we're attending with baby corals. First one was purely research, second one was already after launching the company, but we didn't have anything to sell. And our third time is where we have our product portfolio with us, or at least a part of it. So here we see the Acropora kenti from 2024 spawning. We have different color morphs of these guys, and these were also the first ones that we put on the market in November last year. And there we have the different categories. So we have this one, it's also one of the unique.
The one I'm looking at is super fuzzy.
Yeah, they're fluffy. Yeah, indeed, and they're really easygoing. These are we call them unique because these have never been fragged, so that coral exists only once in that shape right there. So the person who buys it is the only person on the planet who owns the coral. And of course, these are a bit more pricey because we don't have as many of these. We have different grades depending on the coloration and morphology and how rare color shade is within one batch. We decide whether or not it's in grade 1, 2, 3, or 4 would be the chimeras. On the other side, you can have a look at these.
I think there's a frag.
And then, yes, sir, we also have we call them twins. These are also, they have the same birthday as the unique corals. So all corals that we sell as SciReef are grown from eggs, as I mentioned, and of each batch we take some aside and also grow them out, but then take frags, which we call twins. And of course the twins we can offer for a lower price. They have the same properties, right? They're really aquarium adapted, hardy, they grow fast because they're young organisms, but they don't exist only once. But they're more affordable, let's put it like that.
They're still very pretty, you still get the same colors, the same...
Yep, you get the same
amazing
colors.
Shapes.
Yeah, for the twins we have two grades, like the grade 1 are the ones that are more dominated by one color, and the grade 2 are the ones that are more complex in their coloration, or the color morph doesn't occur as often in the batch. And yeah, we're back at the unique
very blue shades. It looks a lot brighter on camera than it does in person. It's a very nice steel blue color.
Yeah.
It's not something you see every day, especially in Acropora.
Yeah, we have a lot of blue shades and turquoise and combinations of turquoise center and blue tips, and like cream colored ones that have kind of a, I would say, pinkish fluorescence, especially on the tips. And yeah, we have blue colonies with green polyps and blue colonies with blue polyps, and some have more yellowish.
I mean, they're
polyps.
already quite crazy looking, and the light is quite balanced. It's a very full spectrum light. It's not super blue at all right now.
Yeah, so I'm more of a full spectrum fan, especially with the blue corals. If you put blue corals under blue light, then, well, the effect is a bit limited, and I just like the natural appearance. But yeah, I can also understand if people really like the blue lights and can see what crazy fluorescence corals can produce. So now we're at the millepora. These are also, of course, grown in our facilities. We have different color morphs here. This one
like
we have right
one.
here is like reddish purple. Yeah, then we have one that is more golden. So these are not available yet, but at some point in the not too distant future, we'll have quite a few different millepora on the market. We're also working on multicolored ones, like chimeric millepora, as we see here, put some more fluorescent light on it, then it becomes more apparent that it's like multiple genotypes.
And is this one coral, or is it two that you've put together?
It's two that fuse together when they're young and still can fuse into chimeric colonies. And we're working on making it more efficient so we can produce more chimeras in a targeted way. Yeah, then we have the reddish millepora. They are like under daylight mostly red, purple, but they have a greenish fluorescence, which is also quite cool, I think. And the polyps are nice. Our tentacles are like turquoise, greenish coloration. So these are the millepora. Then we also have the nasuta, which are these guys. Also very pretty coral, I think. Once it grows the basal disc quite large, as much area as it can cover basically, and then it starts the branching, and when it's really going at it, the tips get pink.
Pink, yeah, they really stand out. It's a very high contrast Acropora to begin with. It's a very bright base with dark polyps, but then you get those pinkish reddish tips, which
and once they
really
grow larger, they form tables, but keep the more thin branches, so it has a very nice appearance once it turns into a large colony.
Then we have some very strange, thin, spindly looking guys.
Yeah, these are Tenuis. So actual Tenuis, kenti are formerly Tenuis from Australia, the parents, and these are Tenuis whose parents came from Fiji, and they have also very different, unusual morphologies. We have the ones with the really long corallites, and then the one in front of it is a sister animal. We call them the lavender, because they have like a purple coloration. But you would think it's two different species. But they come from the same parent gene pool, which is really
crazy,
really interesting. It's always a black box; you never know what you get.
There's some more spindly ones over here. That would be another one?
Yeah, these is also Tenuis. I would call them the pistachio, is a color morph, because once they also start to really grow more, they also get like pinkish tips. And then we have call them the ice fire Tenuis, a bigger one down here. This will also enter the market at some point in the near future. It also has the long corallites and very pastel colored body, and then bluish tips.
Almost orange polyps as well.
Yeah.
Reminds me a lot of the well-known strain, the orange passion.
Yeah, the orange tentacles are a nice addition, I think, and also the morphology is pretty cool with the long corallites, and it has like this almost ice fire coloration. That's also how we're going to call them. These will be the ice fire Tenuis, or whatever it may ultimately be. So we're still waiting for genetic data to know what exactly it is that is in our tank. Among the acros, we also have the Chimeras. These are fused from multiple larvae. Some have large proportion of one coloration and a little proportion of the other. In this Chimera, you have the different colorations even within one corallite. So you can see that some corallites are split into cream colored and blue. And if you would take a genetic sample from the blue part and the cream colored part, even it's one polyp, you would find that it's two different individuals genetically.
That's amazing. That's so cool how this is like now available. It used to be something, a rare unicorn that you find like 1 in a million, and now they come in mass amounts.
In nature, but it's very rare because the larvae have to settle next to each other, and in nature they're spread across like vast areas, so it's not that likely that two are that cozy together. Last but not least, for the acros, and the austera, which is one of my favorite species. It's very hardy, it grows super fast, and it also comes in a bit of a variety. So mostly green, strong fluorescence, some have yellowish tips and like pinkish tips depending on the lighting and the supply of trace elements. You can get the pink coloration.
Oh, what trace elements would do that?
For the austera, it's mostly if the zinc is low, then the pink seems to get a bit paler.
Oh, really?
We think there is a correlation.
Well, I think we've covered all of them, except, well, all of the acros. Except the last but not least, we go beyond boring sticks. No, not boring, but we've got something special here.
Acros are amazing, but there's so many more amazing coral species. And we decided we have to branch out into the LPS, and here we have our first tank-spawned Trachyphilia. They're now about half a year old. Last year there was some turbulence in the market. Luckily we were able to get parent colonies from Australia ahead of time before the import was closed.
These little tiny specks on a frag, like a half a year old Trachyphilia, guys.
Yes sir. They don't quite look like Trachyphilia yet, more like Acantho. But yeah, these are indeed Trachees. Yeah, we had to test out a lot in a very short time. It's the first time we've worked with them, and they're very different than from the acros. Right, so just the size alone. So acro larvae are small, and the settlers like a millimeter, but these guys are much smaller. So like a fraction of a millimeter at the beginning. But once they take up the zooxanthellae, after every feeding you see in the next days, you see a growth spurt. And I hope that by end of the year they will be large enough to find new homes.
And I'm looking at like a double here.
Yeah, there's a double.
So is there gonna be two separate ones?
Yeah, these are two separate ones. They haven't fused, I'm pretty sure, because you can see a clear separation.
Yeah.
But the ones on the very far end are three polyps. I think these may have fused into like one entity, so this is going to be interesting.
So that opens the gateway into like multi-polyp Trachyphilias, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. So
because we've heard of like double scolies, maybe a rare triple scolie, but now we might be able to see double, triple, multi-trachees.
Yeah, we'll see what the future brings. So it's very exciting, and we're also branching out into other LPS like Acanthophilia and scolies. But yeah, it's a lot of learning and a lot of things to be tested out.
That's amazing. Well, Sam, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much for visiting us.
Huge shout out again to Sam and SciReef. And if you wonder how exactly they spawn and reproduce corals in the lab, check out the podcast where we dive deep into how these corals are made. If you want to see more corals and find out how lab-grown corals do in a home tank, subscribe to the channel and find out which corals followed me home from Interzoo. But if you don't want to wait that long, jump into our Coral Garden Discord server where I post sneak previews live as they happen and discuss future editions and upcoming videos with you guys.